It seems like Lorazepam has become a character of its own in The White Lotus Season 3, as the drug has taken on an important role in the Ratliff family's story and the downfall of Timothy, Jason Isaacs. The pills were first introduced in the season premiere when Victoria, Parker Posey, disclosed that she took Lorazepam before going to sleep, which then evolved into revealing that Victoria took multiple per day, supposedly to ease her anxiety. However, Victoria has now had to learn to wean off the Lorazepam, as she's been dealing with the mystery of whoever has been stealing her pills and, eventually, the entire bottle. While Victoria and their children are oblivious to the thief's identity, viewers are already aware that her husband Timothy is the one secretly stealing her Lorazepam. Ever since Timothy discovered that his money laundering crimes were exposed, he'll be facing prison time, and his family's entire life will be upended. Jason Isaacs, the White Lotus character, has taken refuge in the calming effects of his wife's Lorazepam. Though his behavior and demeanor have rapidly changed since he first reluctantly accepted Victoria's advice to take one, nobody in the Ratliff family suspects that Timothy is on drugs and stole the Lorazepam. The Ratliff family doesn't pay enough attention to each other to see that Timothy is on drugs. They choose not to see or speak on what's really happening. Considering they're all adults and have been living with each other in close quarters for a few days by now, it might seem odd that none of Timothy's family members are able to notice what's really going on with him. The tsunami-dreaming Victoria has casually told Timothy that he's not acting like himself, and Piper at one point asked him if he was okay when they shared a sweet moment on the boat, but nobody has actually pressed Timothy on something being wrong with him or truly considered that Victoria's missing Lorazepam could explain his behavior. However, the Ratliff family's obliviousness to one another was already established right from the get-go in The White Lotus Season 3, Episode 1. It's clear early on that the Ratliff family's dynamic and connection to one another is largely surface. They don't go deeper with each other or truly put it in the work to get to know each other and understand what their behavior means. It's implied that Timothy is a workaholic who is generally peripherally involved in his kids' lives. Victoria abusing Lorazepam makes her more emotionally distant, and the kids are each absorbed in their own lives. Overall, they're so disconnected from each other that they're unable to see these troubling signs even when they're right in front of their face, and they don't feel strongly compelled to approach those problems unprompted anyway. This dynamic is foreshadowed in the premiere when the White Lotus Ratliff siblings are together on the boat, as a clever shot represents Saxon, Piper, and Lachlan as the "see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil" proverb. Sitting on a bench, Saxon's eyes are covered by his sunglasses, Piper's ears are covered by her headphones, and Lachlan's mouth is covered by his drink. Timothy's previous demeanor and opinion about drugs mean the Ratliffs wouldn't expect him to abuse them. Timothy's behavior betrays what his family knows about him. In addition to the Ratliffs more generally being unaware of what's happening with one another, the reason why they don't suspect Timothy is stealing the Lorazepam is because it betrays what little they actually do know about him. Or, at least, think they know about him, given Timothy and Ken's Shokel crimes are still a secret. As far as they're aware, Timothy is one of the most respected businessmen and members of higher society in Durham, and also comes from one of the most powerful families, with his grandfather having previously been the governor of North Carolina. As such, being high on pills in a way that could jeopardize his reputation back home isn't something that Victoria and their kids would ever expect from Timothy. They simply couldn't wrap their minds around Timothy abusing pills or secretly being a criminal investigated by the FBI. So, they ignore it even being a possibility. Not to mention, Timothy told Victoria back in The White Lotus Season 3, Episode 3 that he doesn't take drugs, not even Lorazepam, so his family would never suspect him being the thief, even if it's being spelled out right in front of them. The Ratliffs could explain away Timothy's strange behavior as just being due to their vacation. They can ignore his changes while away from home. Ratliff family, The White Lotus. Even if the Ratliffs have spent little quality time together in recent years, it's hard to believe that they wouldn't suspect something is wrong with him in Thailand. When they arrived, Timothy was his normal self, but that all changed once he got a call from a journalist about his Shokel business and another incriminating call from Kuhui Kwan's Kenneth about the situation they're facing. To be fair, the kids and Victoria are completely unaware this is happening, but even Saxon should have had some red flags raised when he was getting urgent calls from their office. However, similar to how the kids are used to Victoria needing more Lorazepam when they're on vacation, they're likely justifying Timothy being out of it as simply being due to their new environment. They most likely think Timothy is facing some personal changes that he needs to deal with on his own and don't affect them. Though Victoria could be an exception, the Ratliffs have all been acting odd throughout The White Lotus Season 3, whether it be Lachlan and Saxon's weird sexual interactions, Piper hiding her real reason for wanting to come to Thailand, or Timothy's behavioral changes.